There is a $261 difference between the OC Mega 22S and the Mega 22S 4. I used the 22S for about a year, and it took me a lot of trial and error and time and extra equipment to get 4 feeds running into this monitor. And it wasn't nearly as robust as I wanted it to be. I couldn't really click between feeds really easily. I had to do it on this, the Blackmagic Multiview 4 HD. It was kind of a whole thing. But when I went to NAB this year, I swung by the OC booth and saw this. And this is the same monitor as the 22S, but it has 3 SDI inputs and 3 HDMI inputs, as well as SDI outs and HDMI outs. But the very interesting thing about this is you can have all these feeds and not need to use one of these boxes to do it. So I was very interested in checking this one out, and I just unboxed this thing like last week, but I recently made the video about the Mega 22S, so I wanted to get this video out as fast as I possibly could, just so people know that this is also an option. It's the same size, it's the same 1500 nit screen, it also has monitoring tools, but the 22S4 has, like I said, those 3 HDMI inputs and 3 SDI inputs. So I've made my FX3, this window right here, from the ports to actually the connection in the back of the monitor right here. So you see it's live. And I just want to go through all of this. This is HDMI 2, so I'm just going to go toggle over to HDMI 2. There's all kinds of different layouts you can use, but now if a client wanted to see HDMI 2, you can toggle over to this, and it's as simple as that. It's really a lot easier than using this Blackmagic Multiview. This is what I wanted to show you guys right here. If you want to switch between, on a stand, if you want to switch between horizontal and vertical, you can take this off. And this is just like a dovetail plate that you can actually turn sideways and plug it in here and lock it off. And now it's not going to go anywhere. So you can take the monitor and literally turn it 90 degrees and put it on the stand like I have this one here. Okay, disconnecting my cameras real quick just to show you guys how to go from horizontal to vertical. Right now it's just free spinning on the stand, and you lock it off on the stand, and then you unlock this right here. And then you can pull everything just straight up. So then you can turn it, and then you can physically slide it back down onto the dovetail and then lock it off, and it's not going to come off that little dovetail. I wish you didn't have to like physically slide this off this little dovetail here. It would be awesome if this was just a swivel mount that you could use. There are swivel mounts out there, and this is just I think it's a 400mm Visa mount. So the next upgrade I might be getting for this is just a swivel mount that you don't have to disconnect the monitor from the stand. If you go into the menu, you can actually turn all of the feeds with just this button. You can turn it to, if you have 3 feeds, they can actually be vertically shown. So if you have these feeds, you can see more real estate on having 3 feeds if you vertically mount the monitor. That's pretty smart, but if you have 4 up, then you can use this one like we had before, and it just shows you the 4 up feeds. There's also a couple of unique ones that if you have like a master and you have like 2 or 3 other feeds on the side that you just want to show the client, but one of them needs to be larger, you can have 1 larger and 3 smaller over here. There's a ton of different like layouts over here, but I've really only used the 4 up just for my very quick testing. And I love having the ability to actually switch between all of these different modes and be able to pick out which one you want, or go full screen and see 1 large feed at a time. It's been really cool, and it took a lot to set this up with the Blackmagic design, the Multiview 4. One thing I love about the monitor as well, it's smart enough to know if you only have 3 feeds, it'll automatically detect which ones you have. I'll just go to the vertically mounted horizontal feeds, if that makes any sense. But it's smart enough to know which feeds you have, and you don't have to say like, feed 1 or SDI 1. And then if you change SDIs to 2 or 3, then you have to like come in here and like mess around with it. It's smart enough to just know what SDI and HDMI cables are plugged in. Okay, back to the right side of the camera. The plastic screen protector, this OC sent me this with this monitor. This can technically be used with the Mega 22S, but this is nice because it's like a sheet of like clear acrylic that for some reason when clients see something, they're like, hey, can we take this and make it right here? You know, and they're actually touching this screen protector and not your monitor, because you can just, you know, spray Windex on this thing and clean it. But if you're spraying Windex on your monitor, it could, you know, blur it or scuff it. I don't want to damage the actual screen. So I love having the screen protector. That's a very welcomed addition. One thing I could see being an issue with this is using it outside though. I haven't used this outside yet. I've literally just took this out of the box and played around with it in the studio. So one thing I would recommend is keeping the sun hood that comes with the monitor close if you're going to be using this outside, because the screen was like a little reflective to begin with. It is 1500 nits, so you can kind of like overpower some of the reflections by just cranking up the brightness. That being said, this is definitely going to increase the reflections if you're using it outside. So I would definitely use it with the sun hood if you're going outside. A few subjective things here. I like the background of the S4 better than just the regular 22S. Let me unplug all these feeds and show you what they look like. Okay, apparently that low battery thing was not a joke because my monitor died. So I've unplugged all of the things, and this is what the OC Mega 22S looks like. It's really bright, and I wish I could like change the background because the monitor is clear, but the OC logo is like a little bit jaggy if I'm being really picky. And seeing it next to this one, all of the background blocks, it's honestly not a super ideal background. It's just kind of like plain corporate-y. This is a little bit more approachable. This is a little bit more like creative. I think if you pulled up and this was the background of your monitor when you were setting everything up, it would be a little more professional than this one. Not saying this matters a lot, but all things considered, I prefer this background over that one. It would be even better if I could change and make it my own background though. I don't think I can do that. If I can, please let me know in the comments down below. I haven't figured that one out yet. Another thing I wrote down is that this monitor didn't come with a power cable. This is just a regular like AC power cable. You can get them for like $5 on Amazon. They come in all kinds of different lengths. So maybe it's better if the monitor was cheaper and you can choose which length of cable you wanted, but this is an additional purchase. If you want to use it with a V-mount battery, this is what the V-mount battery plate looks like on the back. You can power it with V-mount battery, or they also include a gold mount adapter. So depending on what battery you have, you can use those. I usually use this monitor on my cart, like I have the 22S here, and it's using the DJI power battery I have right below here. And I have a power strip on the side of my cart. So I'm powering all of my stuff with a regular AC power adapter. I'm not using V-mount batteries unless I'm like traveling super light, not using the cart, but I need, you know, V-mount battery power somewhere else, which isn't very often. Until I bought this cable for this, I was using it with V-mount power. But it was really interesting that this wasn't included in the box. Again, it's like $5 on Amazon, but it's one thing you have to buy. Is the multicam and horizontal vertical stand mounting worth the extra $261 to you? For me, it is, but let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I will be using this monitor out in the field. Specifically, I'll be, you know, just telling clients, here's 2 or 3 cameras or 4 cameras. If you want to see, you know, camera 1, press this, go to SDI 1, and then it'll be big on the screen. So I'm very interested to see how my clients like that. I have a feeling they're just going to be like pressing that input button all day and just seeing different feeds. I think it would be like more interactive for a client to do that. Before it was just like, here's the 4 feeds and here's what you get. We can't make one larger because it's just a limitation of the hardware. So I'm really interested to put this out and put it through its paces. Let me know what you guys think of these monitors in the comments down below. And thank you guys for sticking around to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.